Welcome in. You're listening to Medical Spa Insider, presented by the American Med Spa Association. We are happy to have you with us. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Tiersch sits down with Max Baybach, co-founder and chief growth officer of Influx Marketing. They will be discussing the evolution of marketing techniques and aesthetics and how those influence the creation of Influx's new platform Growth Stack. Special thanks to Gabriel Grinta from Influx for hosting and editing this week's episode. And a special thanks to you for leaving a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts. It is always appreciated.
All right, welcome everybody to the program. This is Medical Spa Insider. And I'm your host, Alex Tiersch, and we have on the AmSpa hotline, the one and the only, Max Baybach, from the co-founder and chief growth officer of Influx Marketing, live, well, kind of live, from Tampa. I thought you were in California, but you just found out today you're in Tampa now. But for those of you who don't know, Influx Marketing is a marketing platform that has been in aesthetics for, probably almost as long as I have, maybe. And I know, Max, you've been doing quite a bit with aesthetics for as long as I have, and I'm excited to hear what's been going on. You guys are going to be at the Med Spa show here in a couple weeks. You've got a new product that you're launching that I'm very excited to hear about. But first, before we get into it, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about Influx, then we'll get into it.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. It's so nice to be here with you. So as you mentioned, Max Baybach, co-founder, Influx Marketing. Influx is a marketing agency that's specialized in aesthetics for, as you mentioned, over a decade. My business partners and I started in plastic surgery, cosmetic dentistry in Beverly Hills more than a decade ago, maybe about 14, almost 15 years ago. But 11 years ago, Influx started, and we sort of cut our teeth in aesthetics before. I mean, there were certainly med spas, but things have really changed and taken shape. And at some point, we really leaned into marketing for medical spas and just aesthetics, so surgery as well. And that's our niche. I think we've done very well being able to, we've kind of become known for our web design and understanding the aesthetic patient journey. And that's Influx.
Yeah. No, it's been cool to watch your growth from a distance. I mean, from when I first saw you all, back when I was first cutting my teeth, I mean, 2010, whatever, you guys started, it was definitely more surgery, aesthetics, derm based, but then, and you've always had a really good reputation amongst the kind of the premier practices, probably because you guys were started out in Beverly Hills. I mean, that's incredible. I'm curious though, like, to be in the aesthetics marketing business for 10 plus years, especially starting out in California, which is in and of itself just a cutthroat location. Man, that's a testament to you guys for keeping it alive and going for that long, because that is not easy. Not only because it's hard to keep any business going for that long, but just the undulations of the market and the way that the business has gone, the industry has gone up and down during that time. It's pretty extraordinary. So congratulations on that. So tell everybody, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce?
I appreciate that. That's a good question. I would say a couple of things have been a big part of our success. First of all, I think when we were starting out, internet marketing, as we call it, now it's just marketing, but digital marketing, internet marketing was enough of a niche. People didn't understand it well enough. They needed an expert in it, which meant that you could service a lot of different industries, but your expertise was around, hey, we understand this digital marketing, how to reach people and new customers through the internet. And over time, I saw, and my business partners and I saw that you needed to further niche down. So it was through working with surgeons that we saw, med spas. At first, as I mentioned earlier, they were all kind of attached to a surgery practice for the most part. And then we started to see that there was something forming up here, a whole new industry. And we said, so it was enough, as I mentioned, of a niche to say, if you're in a type of business that's localized, so you service a local clientele and you're a service business and you need to generate leads, we can service all those kinds of businesses. So we had lawyers, we had plastic surgeons, we had dentists, we had, you know, anything that kind of fit that lead gen model. But what we saw was that the difference, the tiebreakers were going to be in the nuances of understanding that industry. And that bet really paid off. So there was a time when we just said, let's just be aesthetics and let's tell our clients that are not aesthetics, this is what we're doing now. We want to be transparent with you. We are focusing because we saw the growth that was coming in this space. And that really did pay off. And I think, yes, there's ups and downs, as you mentioned, but when you really focus on an industry and you understand it inside and out, I think that pays off. I always say it's kind of like playing the game of hearts where you shoot the moon. You have to collect all the hearts if you're going to go for that strategy, but it worked for us. And then I think the other thing is we really built our agency around communication, around client-facing communication. I think some people try to make the mistake of sort of having people that are delivering the results, also client interfacing, and it's unrealistic. It spreads your team too thin. And I think at the end of the day, like a big part of marketing is messaging to the client. Here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then getting feedback from them. What's working? What's not? Great. Let's make some pivots. And so we built really around an entire team that is just a big part of our company is interfacing with clients. So we can understand their needs. They can understand what we're doing. We can work with them. And I think that has been, honestly, that is really a secret, I would say. Like, that's turned out to be a huge bet because it would look like, hey, why do you put all this cost into just people who all they do is talk to your clients? But man, how important is that, And it's paid off. It's been really important.
I mean, it's the most important thing, I would argue, right? I mean, that's really all if you can't do that, you're not doing anything. And this is, as I think about this, I realize this is kind of probably a loaded question. And unanswerable, but just looking at the industry back, because I remember, you probably remember this too, back in the day when, especially in plastic surgery, there was, heavy debate over the use of social media and websites and internet advertising at all. Like there was a contingent of surgeons and aesthetic providers who didn't think that was appropriate, right? And that has, obviously settled, but then you had this whole arm of med spas, as you rightfully pointed out, it's an industry unto its own, and the marketing behind that has grown. But now, your agency has gone through that, and you've been able to adapt, and now med spas are one of your fastest growing segments. But now you're in this totally different age where you've got, AI, and you've got all these new groups that are popping up using all of these different tools. And I can feel like the earth is shifting under us again. I mean, and it's almost like looking back on when you started, it feels like the frickin' Stone Ages to me a little bit. And it's really, I'm trying to figure out a way to compare the two eras and to figure out kind of how you can go about comparing them and how your business has been able to thrive in between those when a lot of them haven't. And part of that is also just resisting the urge to sell to a private equity company and hang it up, and you're still around doing what you're doing, which is pretty cool.
We think there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to build something that is really a new model for agencies. So we're really still in build mode, even after it's been 11 years since Influx was officially founded. And I think the technology is just hitting a point where there's a whole new opportunity. And I think there'll be some agencies that make the right moves and some that don't. And there'll be a lot of market share to scoop up in that case for those who are doing it right. It's funny because I definitely remember those earlier eras. And yes, the debates on those subjects were sort of settled for the doctors by, up and comers just coming in and doing it anyway. You could sit there and be grumpy about it, but it was happening and those people were beating you in their marketing. And
Right.
it was a hot debate, and it still is, in terms of, you feel like your qualifications should matter more than how much you can dance on social media. I think maybe we're reaching a point of maturity where there's an equilibrium kind of between both, and maybe patients are becoming there's still a long way to go in educating patients, but they're getting more educated on how to select the right providers. But I remember that era and I remember this, and in a weird way, there's almost no comparison. You want to say,
Yeah.
there's the tendency to say, this is the next technical iteration, but it is almost just unlike anything before. And as you mentioned, it felt so high tech back then to be doing anything on the internet, and now it feels like the Stone Ages.
It is. It's strange. It's strange to think back to those times. Well, but you talked about building, so I would love to know what like, and before we got on, we were talking a little bit about how, that's kind of one of the things you like to do is to build and design. What are you working on? I know you've got something going for med spas that you're going to be rolling out in part at the medical spa show here in a couple weeks. Tell me about that. What have you got going?
Yeah, so we are launching a new platform. And I think this is part of the agency of the future, is what you might call it, the tech-enabled agency. There's still a heavy need for that service arm. It's not about becoming a SaaS company. It's not about automating everything, but launching a platform. And I'll tell you exactly why we're doing this. So it's a technology platform. But as you mentioned, making it this long in this business does require being able to just continue to build. And we were talking about this, as you, like you said, before we started rolling, that, my business partner is the CEO. He focuses on keeping, things on the rails every day, and he does a fantastic job along with our president, Erica Crawford. And then some of my other business partners and I really get to think about the future. And I think that's so important, really, in any business, but particularly in anything technical, especially in marketing. And I think it's essential to be able to do that. So that's what we've been working on, is a new platform called Growth Stack. And the idea behind it is, in many ways, there's a lot of doom and gloom about AI, but in many ways, I think it's just going to make things possible. But how many people have come to you, Alex, and said, and just complained about their marketing, like how awful their marketing has been?
Yeah, all the time.
Right. I mean, it's a common pain point, right?
Yeah, all the time.
And the fact of the matter is, as agencies scale, it becomes very hard for them to deliver any really good results without charging a large amount. So what I've seen, we've never really been able to compete at lower price points. And I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but I think that we've only wanted to deliver something at a lower price point if we could really deliver results. And there are certainly some agencies at lower price points doing, I would say, some decent things. But for the most part, a lot of times the way agencies can meet a price point that the market wants is really just by under delivering. And that's just a hard truth. I'm not trying to throw any shade at anyone. It's very hard. It's, as much as this feels all very high tech, or it did a long time ago, internet marketing, it's a lot of manual labor. It's a lot of stitching everything together, and it's a lot of human resources. So it's hard to deliver really good results at scale. I think the technology that's coming is going to allow people to have the power in their hands to really control their own growth, and to do it at a much more approachable, cost-effective price point. So we're launching a platform. We're calling it a growth management platform, and it's the first growth management platform built for medical spas, specifically around their needs. And it's going to allow you to manage your web presence, have a world-class website at a very cost-effective, in a very cost-effective way, and manage your incoming leads and nurture those and get insights into how it's all working. And we've got some features we'll be launching with where you're kind of stitching these three components together with AI, but there's a whole lot more things coming that are going to make your marketing really something that you can take control of, and again, at an approachable price point.
That's awesome. Hey everybody, it's Alex Tiersch. Thank you to CallRail for sponsoring this podcast. If I asked you right now which social campaign or Google ad brought in your highest paying client last month, could you tell me? Most med spa marketers are investing in growth, but can't point to the specific dollar that's actually working. And it's hard to scale when your ROI is a guessing game. That's where CallRail comes in. CallRail's lead engagement platform shows you exactly which marketing channels are driving your highest value clients. Their AI voice assistant even answers and qualifies calls when your team is busy, so you're not missing that high-value consultation that could have been your next loyal regular. That's why over 225,000 businesses, including top-performing med spas, trust CallRail. It's time to stop hoping your marketing works and start knowing it does. Try CallRail for free for 14 days, no credit card required, at callrail.com/amspa. That's callrail.com/amspa.
The Medical Spa Show returns to the Wynn in Las Vegas April 9th through 12th. Every year, MSS is where the best come to get better. Over 100 educational sessions, a sold-out expo hall filled with more than 200 potential brand partners, and networking events that bring together the most supportive community in medical aesthetics. Friends of the pod can save $100 off their registration today with the promo code INSIDER. That's medicalspashow.com, promo code INSIDER. We can't wait to see you there. Promo code expires April 9th, 2026, and only applies to primary registrants. Cannot be combined with any additional offers. Learn more about this event at medicalspashow.com.
And one thing you mentioned that I thought was interesting was, as opposed to just having everything be kind of an automated SaaS platform, that agencies and people and man hours, for lack of a better word, are still going to matter. Like, and tie that back. Like, how does that? Because that is one thing I think that we're all struggling with, is that AI is doing all these things, but it really, it's not perfect, and we're starting to see it adapt, and that frankly is making a lot of folks, including myself, nervous, because like if you start giving it agency, then what does that mean? And so how does and you mentioned this also earlier, that you think some of the agencies, out there will be able to pivot and make it, and it's going to leave some opportunity. What is that opportunity for you guys, and what does your current what does Growth Stack allow? Like, how does it take that kind of some of that SaaS automation piece of it out of it and allow some of the personalization that you're talking about? Does that make sense?
100%. I want to hit on a couple different points you talked about. First of all, yeah, change is enough to make this much change happening so quickly is enough to make anyone a little uneasy. And I think it's easy for me to be biased and say, well, you're always going to need an agency or some sort of a service arm of a business. But I think the mental model, or the way to think about it, is this: a lot of this stuff is heavily democratized quickly. And so there are early adopters and people saying, well, if you understand this technology, you won't get left behind. And I think that's true. I think some people are taking advantage of it quicker than others. But eventually, it's going to be a level playing field for everyone. So the only question I ask myself is, what are you going to do to outcompete at that point? And I have to think that there's going to be a human element that's out innovating. And then, so then AI will learn those new patterns, because it will develop its own patterns eventually. I'm not naive enough to think that it won't, but right now it's mimicking human patterns, right? So we have to be the ones who develop those new ideas for some time to come, I think, until AI will probably outcompete us in that regard as well. But for the most part, it's coming up with new strategies. And what am I going to do when there's a level playing field of websites that people whipped up in a few keystrokes? What are the people who are looking to outperform going to do, and who are they going to come to, and who's going to be able to help them do that? That's the way I think about the service aspect of an agency, instead of thinking entirely of automating it all the way. But if we can also automate things so that our team can focus on the things that really give our clients an edge and less of the busy work, that's a goal for us as well. I think that's the way a lot of businesses are thinking about AI, and that makes a ton of sense. And then let's see, what was your other question in terms of what are you going to be able to do with it and personalizing? You mentioned, yeah. So, yeah. It's we're really thinking. So I think, again, it's heavily democratized. We all have access right now to the same models. So the difference is, if you can bake in to the AI tools that you're using, if you can bake in proven processes, I think that's what it comes down to. And I've been seeing a lot of content from people in Silicon Valley and the tech world saying, like, there's a new role. They call it the agent maestro. I think that's a bit lofty. But the point is, you don't have to necessarily be technical. You don't have to even really understand AI. What you need is domain knowledge. And then you are making sure those agents are conducting themselves according to proven processes and to really niche insights. And this goes back to what I was saying about how important it is to be niche. A generalist is not going to win today when it comes to orchestrating agents. The only advantage that's left is all those niche insights and tying them all together and getting AI to execute on those niche insights. So understanding an industry really well, understanding pain points really well, your clients and their needs really well. In this case, we need to understand our clients, the medical spas and their owners and their providers, and we need to understand the patient, the aesthetic patient, and stitch together something that gives the ideal experience on all sides of that. So that, So much I could say about that, but in a nutshell, that's where we're focused.
Yeah. So I was going to say, that's where, and I had this thought not too long ago. I mean, is that where kind of the modern marketing, not even marketing agency, but a lot of consultants are going to go, where it's almost managing the AI agents that are doing these things to make sure they're doing them an effective way, right? So that they're not going rogue and doing things that aren't relevant, pertinent to the specific industry. Because you're absolutely right. Like, someone's got to be minding the ship for these things, right? So, and what you guys have been so good at, given your depth of knowledge in the industry and the length of time you've been in it, is being able to speak the language and talk the talk. But I mean, is that a lot of what you're going to be doing? Is kind of bringing these different components together, making sure that your clients can use them and utilize them in the best way that they know how to?
Yes, with a very you know, deliberate effort on our part to keep that within the container of marketing. That's where we
Yeah,
want to stay. But you're
right.
totally right that there's going to be consultants are we're seeing more and more moving over to AI enablement, and there's going to be a whole industry. There already is, but it's going to grow heavily of AI enablement, and then in different sectors. So AI enablement for production, let's say AI enablement for sales, AI enablement for operations, all these different things. We're going to really keep that in marketing. And by being niche to aesthetics, what we can also do is build things that apply to a broad base and that we know work after sampling that with hundreds, if not thousands of clients and millions of website visits and millions of leads that we've gotten to date and millions of ad dollars that we spend every single year, and taking those insights and giving them to people. And where the personalization comes in is at lower price points. We will give you the tools. We will give you really good support to use them. But this technology stack that we are building, which is Growth Stack, you can have a subscription to it if you're kind of looking to get started and you're at a lower budget. But when you need more of that, hey, I want to personalize this. I want to stand out from the crowd. It's the same platform that our team uses as well. And what you get is just more expertise, more professional services layered on top of that platform. That's the way we're thinking about the agency of the future. Is it's a continuum from subscriptions to a fully tech-enabled agency to also being able to even service enterprise clients, because that's another subject. But we're seeing more and more multi-location groups coming
Hmm.
our way looking for marketing solutions that fit their needs, and that's a whole different set of needs.
Hmm. And so, like, growth stack still, I mean, it still starts with, because I know y'all are very well known for your websites. I mean, you have been from the beginning I mean, make beautiful websites. Um,
Thank you.
and so growth stack's going to it includes kind of all of that. So I'm imagining all the social media marketing outreach, all that kind of stuff, and can include all that stuff layered on, and then they can pick and choose kind of what they want at different price points. So you're able to, and forgive me if I'm oversimplifying, I'm sure I am, but you're able to bring in people at different price points so that they can get access to what you guys are doing without necessarily coming in and having to bite off the full apple. Is that fair?
Exactly right. The core of it is, and it's always been for us, is starting with a website that is not only beautiful. I think it's important in aesthetics to have a
Yeah.
website that truly represents the practice accurately. I mean, we've had other medical specialties that said this website is too pretty. I'm trying to get insurance-based patients outside of aesthetics, and I don't want
Right.
this pretty website. But for your cash pay aesthetic patients, I always say in aesthetics, they judge you by your aesthetics. Also, we build into that website it's really built around a real understanding of how patients convert, how Google, and now different AI platforms are reading and crawling your website. We take all that into consideration. And after, like I said, about 12 years, we've really figured out what works there. This is the culmination of us being able to, instead of it taking 6 months and tens of thousands of dollars to build a website, we could still do that for you. And there are many people who want us to do that. But if you're looking, this is the culmination of us distilling all those learnings into something that can be much more approachable. You can select a theme. It still gets heavily customized for you. But then it is important to oversimplify, because I could go on and make it sound complicated. The simplicity
Yeah.
of it is it's a website with the ability for you to manage it instead of having to, I mean, we will be there to help you, but if you want to make a quick update, generate a new page using AI right inside the platform, trained on our understanding of aesthetic procedures too, not just a generalized AI, can generate that page. So you can whip up a page or a landing page real fast for a new service or an event you're doing or an ad landing page. Then it's a CRM to manage those leads, to drive bookings, again with AI, to drive bookings to a calendar while you sleep. And it works really well. And you can train it over time to really, really stick to your brand guidelines and to your voice, and to not to go off outside of the boundaries of where you want it to go. And then it's insights to be able to measure how that's going. And our ultimate goal is to really tie those insights back into the front of the loop so that AI can not make decisions entirely, but tee up decisions for you. So it says, you did this, here's the insight, this is what came out. Let's do more of this, or let's do less of that, or let's tweak it. What do you think? Yeah, let's publish that blog article on this subject. It's already ready to go. That's how I see this platform working. When you tie that whole loop together, you start to have AI assisted growth, and you can just sort of be there clicking yes or no. I think that's the future, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. That's cool. What, and it gets me thinking, like, I feel like web design and websites are also changing now because it becomes so easy and different. Like, you can just do a website like that, right? You just hit a button and it does it for you. But that's not necessarily the right move, because you're not getting what you need to have a functioning website that converts, that all the things that you need. How, like, and you touched on this, but like, as a company that, as you mentioned, has been doing website design, beautiful websites in aesthetics for a long time, how is that gonna change? Like, because that is a totally different landscape now, right? Like, now you're in a world where web design has become, I don't even know what it's become. It's something totally different. So, but to me, like what you said, people are still on the web. It's not like people still need websites. Everyone still goes to web pages. You always still visit a website before you go anywhere. So it's not like they're dead. It's all on your phone. So it's a very, very necessary thing, but it's just becoming, it's changing. So what's different about it? And kind of building off of what you just said, how do you adapt and build upon that so that, you know, people can continue to grow with their website and not be as intimidated as maybe they were in the past?
These are all great questions, and they mirror the thoughts that keep me up at night. I've given all of this a ton of thought, my business partners and I, and obviously I always want to check my own bias on this. So, I believe there will always be a need for businesses to have their own website. And I
Yeah,
think that
always.
that is kind of empirical. I've heard people say websites are dead, but then, but the reality is, if we all look at our browser histories, we're all visiting websites every day. And even if we learn about businesses in different places now, the final transaction, very often, and depending upon the industry, but certainly in aesthetics, the final transaction, or in this case, the outreach to the practice, it happens on your website. And I would look at it like, I compare a lot of things in marketing to finances. You want to look at your risk assessment. You want to invest. You want to diversify your different marketing channels, diversify your portfolio, your different investments, put some things into long-term return. Like, I want to really build up my SEO, or some short-term return. Like, I want to run these ads. So there's a ton of parallel, because what is marketing? It is investment. You're looking for a return. So it parallels investment. And I would say your website is your, I don't know if I know the right term, but the third-party custody for any kind of investment account. You have someone managing it, but you wouldn't have them holding the account. You would have a third party having custody of that account.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, that is what your website is. You can reach a lot of people on a lot of platforms, but you need to have the diversification of an independent platform that you own. That's your website. And it's also the hub, to which all the spokes lead into. And we're only getting more spokes these days. So you need a place to kind of corral it all. So that touches upon one thing, is like, our website's going to persist. I think that thought process that I walked myself through many times confirms that they will. Will they change form? Sure. Will they reach a point? I guarantee you this will happen. They will reach a point where no two people will ever have the same experience on that website. I think that will happen. No question. It will be slightly adjusted to each person. So, that seems pretty obvious with AI. We need hardware and certain things to catch up to making for latency and things like that. But honestly, it's probably there. So that will happen. But I know that websites will occur. Then the other thing, or will continue to occur, the other thing that we see right now is a little bit of a gap between the hype and the reality. I think people want to project just a little bit further than where we are. It doesn't sell headlines. It doesn't get your Instagram reels any views to say, AI's not quite there yet. It's this product just came out and it crushed everything and everything's changing is sort of the narrative. But when you look closely, you try to generate a website right now and we test everything that comes out. It takes a little bit of hoops that you have to jump through to get that website up and running on a server, performant, fast loading, having the content that you need on it to rank, um, you know, having images that match your brand. There's still a lot of manual pieces, even for these things where you could sort of whip together a website quickly. There's so many things that you have to think about. But I think it will get there to the point where you could actually put together a really nice website pretty quickly. What we want to do is be the provider of that solution that puts together a website for you really quickly and very cost effectively, that understands exactly what your business is doing, not building you a generalist website, because that's the other problem with the sort of Wixes of the world and those site builders, Squarespace, Wix. They're sort of building something that's general and it isn't built around the customer experience. So within Growth Stack, you have an entire before and after photo gallery. You have a place to manage your specials. You have a place to manage your team of your providers. You have a place to manage your various locations. And I could go on, but it is built around your need set. It's also built around the need set of this industry to, SEO has always been huge in aesthetics. And so you need a site that's really built with SEO in mind. And so it's built with that in mind. It's something that's called, we have a CMS, a content management system that outputs really light, robust sites, but the code is lightweight and fast, basically, just to kind of put it very simply. So there's all these small nuances and it will change. What we want to do is be that solution for aesthetics. And I could probably ramble on, but I better cut myself off there. And I hope I answered your question.
No, I mean, you did. Honestly, it's super interesting because I mean, you're in a both at the same time, a fascinating, interesting, fast changing business. I can see how though it would keep you up at night because it is like the tectonic plates are shifting beneath your feet. And there's going to be folks, I mean, almost, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but I'm thinking back, to the old days when we were talking about some of these plastic surgeons who, they didn't adapt and do social media. They didn't adapt and you just get left behind. Like it's some succeed and some don't. Like what's going to happen with these websites and what's going to happen with all of with the AI agents and all this stuff. It's like, it's going to happen and either you're going to be on board or you're not. And it's like with your business, what you're doing now, which I think is really astute and forward thinking is, how are you going to be able to adapt? How are you going to be able to design something that's going to be able to help your clients and all these folks out there who are wondering right now, because I know, because I am too with our business. It's like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? Like all this AI stuff. There's a few things that I'm always worried about. Number one, I'm falling behind because all this AI stuff is out there and we're not doing enough. And I feel like we're slow. And then what are we going to do ultimately to bring all of this new technology so that we are caught up and we're leveraging everything in a way that is so that we're not falling behind and we're doing things in a way that's competitive. And that's just a daily concern because how do you know really in today's day, how do you know if you're ever caught up or not? And that's kind of like your whole business.
It is. I would say just listening to you, the thought I'm having is I think in the end, it's the people who are staying up at night that are losing sleep and that are worried that they're behind. Those are the people that are probably going to be okay, in a weird way. It may not be great for our mental health, but like, if you're stressing on this, then you're probably doing all right. And I think it'll level out. I don't know when, because it's happening so fast right now. It does not feel like it's leveling out. But then my focus goes to, great, it's fully democratized now. We all have access to the same things. What are we doing? What are we doing to have an edge? And that becomes, I think that's just kind of like locked into human nature, that there's always going to be some necessity to find the edge. And that will be the new game once this all levels out. So I think if you're willing to be vigilant and look for that, you'll be all right in any industry.
Well, that is until Cyberdyne Skynet goes live and the Terminators take over, and then it's all over. And Doesn't matter anyway. Real quick, as we are bumping up against time. So you're going to be at AmSpa at the show, and you're rolling a lot of this growth stack out. What does that look like? What are you planning on doing? You got a big booth, which is cool. We're grateful for that. We've got, so many exhibitors, so many attendees coming. What do you have planned, if anything?
Yeah, we want to make a big splash this year. We love coming to AmSpa every year, the Med Spa show.
It's become interchangeable at this point. I wish I could.
Okay. Okay.
So whatever you want.
Yeah, I've always kind of interchanged it, but the energy has been awesome there the last few years, and I feel like it's really building, and it's perfectly kind of culminating for us as we launch this product. So we have a big old booth. We're going to be doing a bunch of fun things in the booth. You can come by, and we're going to have a coffee bar. We're going to have a photo booth with a glam bot. You'll see what that is if you've seen those things on the red carpet. We are going to have our traditional, the thing we do, we always bring a bunch of different styles of hats, so you can come in and get a hat and take a demo of Growth Stack. I think you should see us on the floor. We're trying to make a big splash, and we'll walk you through if anyone is interested in what Growth Stack is, we can give you a quick demo of it or set up a meeting for afterward and show you what's possible with this new platform that we're really excited about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Really cool. Well, I appreciate you sharing it with us. I'm looking forward to it myself. And I'll definitely come by and see it, and appreciate everything. And congrats on all the growth and the ideas and the new launch. I think it's exciting, and I have no doubt you guys are going to crush it.
Thank you, Alex. By the way, I should mention, if anyone's interested right now, you can get on a wait list for it at growthstack.app, by the way, as well.
Growthstack.app. Yes. I did see that. Okay. That's awesome. Because I was poking around saying, I want to know more about this. What it is? And this, you can get on a wait list. All right, cool. That's awesome.
It's a little bit in stealth mode. I mean, this is the most I've talked about it, but it's been helpful. You asked some very thought-provoking questions. It's helpful for me to sort of hear my thoughts out loud on it. And so far, I'm feeling good. So thanks, Alex.
I'm AI generated, so it's not even me. It's something. It's some other. But I appreciate your time. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and I'm sure lots of other folks will too. And for those of you who haven't bought your tickets, please, let's hurry up and do so. April 9th through 12th. The Wynn Hotel and Casino and Resort in Las Vegas.
We can't wait.
I'll see you there. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Alex. Okay, we'll see you there.
Sounds good.
Thank you to our producer, Madeline Moeller, marketing content coordinator, who organizes the podcast schedule and guests and provides topics and talking points. Audio and video editing, voiceover, graphics, and platform management is provided by myself, Derek Hawk, digital marketing supervisor. Our theme is provided by Maka Music. Thank you for watching or listening to the Medical Spa Insider podcast. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. Ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, visit americanmedspa.org. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by AmSpa. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance in the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. AmSpa provides this podcast as a public service for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Please consult with an attorney on your legal issues. And as always, thank you for listening to the Medical Spa Insider. Remember, compliance is cool.